This week I'm shooting a rack where I just think I did everything wrong. And the action takes place on that end of the table, so I've zoomed in the camera a little bit closer. Let's get into the rack. I'm shooting pretty fast and loose, and although looks like I'm making some good decisions, I kind of disagree after the fact with everything. You can tell I'm hitting with a low ball here. I don't know if the cue ball is going to the side rail or up table. Like last time, that was a deflection. I didn't really draw the ball, but real confident on the ball pocketing, and I knew the cue ball was going to come loose and get it open rack. Now, I mentioned that I disagree with almost every decision I make during this rack, but I get through the rack, so that's a good lesson. The number one rule of straight pool is don't miss. So if you don't miss, that means you're probably playing fairly good position, and you're going to get out the rack. You're going to be able to run out. So textbook isn't always required. We want textbook as much as we can because it leads to consistency. But if you're out of sorts or things don't feel right, just fall back on rule number one, which is don't miss. So when I look at this rack today, it's perfect. Every ball is separated. There's only one ball in the rack area. So this is an ideal situation. But when I look at it, what I see is doing rack analysis, there's a break ball, the 12 ball, and then the 2 ball could be a key ball, or the 14, or the 7 for that matter could be a key ball, or any of those could be a K2 to kind of lead to the other. There's options here with these balls. So those balls I want to leave alone. I have one up table ball. I have the 2 easiest shots I have right now are the 2 ball on the side and the 6. And there's a combination here, 8, 9 in the corner, but if I shoot the 6, both the 8 and the 9, I believe, go back here. So I'm not sure what I'm doing by shooting the 2 ball. That's a good key ball. You want to leave that. I think the best shot is to shoot the 6, either a stop shot or go to the rail and come back up. Work on these low balls. The only problem really on the table is these 2 balls, and they're not much of a problem. You're going to be able to nudge those somehow. In fact, I see shooting the 6, and then if you get a low angle on the 9, you shoot the 9 and go into these balls. If you come up higher than that and you have a low angle on the 8, then you shoot the 8 and go into these balls. And when I say go into them, I mean very softly, because you've got 2 insurance balls right here. And the 9 back this way could be an insurance ball if you use the 8. So you want to move the 10 or the 11 very, very softly, just an inch or two, just a little bit to open these up. That's what I see, and for some reason I'm shooting the 2 ball. I'm not sure why. Okay, the reason why I shot the 2 is because I identified the 1 as an up table ball, trouble ball, and I want to get rid of it. And so I drew the cue ball back to have an easy shot on the 1 ball. Problem is I elevated myself over the 14, so that's a problem that should be avoided, because no matter what I play next, if I'm going to go from the 1 to the 7 or to this 3, I'll want an angle on the 1. So getting the cue ball over here would have been ideal. I can either shoot the 1 and hold for the 7, or I can bounce way over here for the 3 or something else. So now I have to shoot the 7 ball because I don't want to shoot while I'm elevated over the 14. Now, if that was positioned on the 1, I didn't get there, but I've got a good shot on the 3. I'm still focused on the 1. So I'm shooting this 3 ball to get position on the 1. So I talked about balance a couple of weeks ago too. And when I talked about balance, I mentioned the center line. Where's my pencil? I mentioned the center line of the table this way and trying to balance the balls equally from left to right. You can have a balance up and down too. In other words, I'm trying to get rid of all the balls here so that I only have to work down here. That's what I think was on my mind, because if I shoot the 6 and leave those balls up here in the 1 ball, then I'm kind of, I think that's a better balance. You're removing balls from the congested area and leaving balls where they're still open. That 1 ball is not a big problem. I mean, if the 1 ball was here or if the 1 ball was here, then you got to come up with a better plan to get the up table ball. But this 1 ball is easily accessible. So I don't think this was, I think it was a mistake to shoot all those balls trying to get the 1. I made this harder on myself. So now I think, once again, I'm straight in, so I can't do much with the cue ball. And for that reason, I'm just playing here to play the 7 ball, the 6 ball next. Now, because I haven't really looked at these and formulated a plan, I'm doing it now, which is kind of late in the game. There could have been an easier way to go about this had I gotten an angle on the 1 to achieve something positive. Now what I'm doing is drawing the cue ball around and out. I'm just keeping, I call this keeping the cue ball alive. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just getting it in the open. I know I'm going to have a shot here or a shot here or a shot here. And so I kept the cue ball alive. Now I'm seeing if the 11 ball is in the rack or not. The 12 ball is, I'll grant you that the 12 ball is a very high break ball, so it's not as desirable if I could make a better one. So, and I think that's what I'm looking at right now. So I'm deciding right now to shoot the 8-9 combination, and I have an angle to send the cue ball to the bottom rail and up. That's okay. It's real good for 2 reasons. It's kind of risky because it's a combination, and I'm doing a lot with the cue ball, but it's good in the sense that I'm going to nudge these balls, and I could make a better break ball, and I'm going to open them up, and I have clear insurance balls back this way. So this is probably a good decision. Rather than trying to maneuver and get my cue ball over here for short side position on the 8-9. So it's not that hard of a combination, and I made the 11 into a break ball, so that's great. But then I tied these 2 balls up. Now I do something that I disagree with again. I do it wrong again. I have several shots right here. I can shoot the 8. I could shoot the 14 for that matter. The point I want to make is this. I'm looking at these now as a problem ball that I need to open up. And I think that's a mistake when you're this late in the rack. Even though they're close together, I believe that both of these balls go in that pocket. So once the 4 ball is gone, the 4 is a blocker. Once the 4 ball is gone, both of those balls go. So even though what I'm going to do is shoot the 4 and run into those balls, I think that's way too risky. That's got to be a mistake. Even though doing so, I have an insurance ball on the 8 and the 15. Oh, I don't even shoot it now. I shoot the 15 first. Yeah, I don't like that. See, I think what would be the correct choice? I think shooting the 4 ball from where I was and simply coming past these balls. I'm going to have a shot on one of these balls back here or the 12 ball there if I don't come far enough. Let's say the cue ball stops here. I can still shoot the 12 and then come back and get a shot on one of these balls there. I think it's lower risk in this instance because I have so many open balls. I just don't need to be running into balls. Shooting that 15 didn't really accomplish anything for me. It would be different if the 10 ball goes in the side, but I don't shoot that. And I think I'm looking at it right now, and I don't think it goes past the 14. If it does, you can make a case for playing position for that, but I didn't do that. So, perhaps I'm recovering. But so what I decide to do now is run into those balls. And with the 15 ball gone, that's even worse because I don't have to get a good shot on the 8 after nudging these balls. I still think, even from here, I still think the correct play is to come past these balls to this area. But it does work out, showing the power of the motto, don't miss. If you don't miss, then you get on your break shot and everything's good. So this shows what can go wrong. I did not get a shot on my insurance ball, the 8. I do have a shot on the 14, but that's a really good key ball for the 11 ball break shot. So now I'm in trouble because I didn't choose a better pattern much earlier in the rack. I don't like where the 13 is. The 13 in the side could be a good key ball as well, and you could use the 8 like this to play position on it. That's not the end of the world, but it's trickier. It's not as reliable as what we're looking for. So now I'm shooting, because of that, I'm choosing to leave the 14 as a key ball for the 11. That means I need to cut this 13 to my left and spin the cue ball with a whole bunch of inside English to come back out here. Now, I kind of like that shot, but it's tricky. You can easily miss this 13. The position is good because I'm going to have a shot on either the 10 or the 12 ball after this shot, assuming that I don't bobble that 13. Oh, my goodness. What was I doing there? Okay, well, I'm not sure what I was trying to do there. I doubt that I was trying to bump a ball, but I can't imagine what I was trying to do. And that worked out by sheer luck. So this is okay. I don't mind this. I'm recovering from a bad position play. Just leave yourself this angle on the 8-ball. And then I do this shot wrong. I totally disagree with what I do here. You can get away with this if you're playing on a table a lot and you're really used to the speed control. So here's the shot line to the 14. I want to get close to it, and I want to err on the low side. The high side is bad. The low side is easy because you can still shoot the 14 and hold it. But what I do is I play the 8-ball and play one rail trying to come up here. Like I said, if you're in tune with the table and your speed control is good, that's going to be fine. But the correct shot here is to go 2 rails and strike the side rail below this point. In fact, sometimes I'll even measure this and just estimate roughly halfway. So I really want to cut this and spin the ball with a lot of right English like this. The speed control's easier. You're not going to cross the line. And the third reason why this is good is because your cue ball is farther away from the object ball. When I'm playing the 8-ball, my cue ball is going to come up here. So if this is my target zone, okay, I have a very short distance right here that I can still have good position. But over here, I've got at least double the distance where my cue ball can stop perpendicular to the shot line and still have a good enough angle to very easily get on my break shot. Hey, that's a really cool spider web there. Does that make sense? So for that reason, I think this 2 rails is the right way to go. But I play it pretty good. And I kind of played the cue ball away. I didn't play it straight up this way. I played it farther from the ball for the reason I just mentioned. And then to wrap it up, I don't like what I just did. And I do it too much. And I preach against it, and then I still catch myself doing it. And that is, I wanted the cue ball to go forward 1 to 2 ball diameters, and I rolled it instead of punching it. I'm going to have to set aside a practice session where I just punch that ball forward, because that's the right way to do it. You're going to get skids. The ball's going to roll off. You're going to hit it too soft. There's a lot of things that can go wrong when you slow roll that ball. Here, this break shot is just a high ball, straight high ball. Yep, right into the 6, into the second ball up from the corner. And you notice, I'll play it again. Let me see if I can play that again. Here we go. What's really key about this shot, and this comes up a lot when you're using a high ball into the center balls here from a lower break ball, your cue ball is going to kind of stick there. You'd love for it to curve to the bottom rail, but a lot of times it sticks. And I believe it's the 2-ball in this case, because that's where all the energy, 90% of the energy is going right there into that 2-ball. The 2-ball caroms off the 5, goes to the bottom rail and comes up. There's almost all the balls that come loose in this break shot, including the cue ball, are the result of this 2-ball rebounding and opening the rack. I call it a secondary collision. So you got to bear that in mind, and that's the reason why you need to hit that hard enough. Do you see that 2-ball come back? And that's what knocked the cue ball loose. If that didn't happen, my cue ball would be stuck there. That's something you need to keep in mind when you have that particular angle on that break shot. So I did it wrong, but I got through the rack. Happy New Year, everybody. And this was, what was this, Rack of the Week number 95. We're going to see some changes coming up soon. I'll make some announcements about that. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next week.